Alperen Şengün went off last night. He dominated Victor Wembanyama. First takeaway, he needs a cheeseburger. He needs 10 cheeseburgers. Victor Wembanyama is so skinny. He got bullied. Like the fact he's so tall is great, but he looks like a child at the same time on the court with Alperen Şengün.
Well, I find skinny shaming racist.
Well, you know what? Too bad.
Okay, fine.
Because he's too skinny.
He's just a boy. He's a French child. He has to learn how to cut out.
What have the French done for you ever to defend them?
It's my blood.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I thought you said you were Irish.
Mostly Irish and French Canadian. Now,
how much?
25%.
Okay.
My name is French. Paul Maurice Gallant. Okay. So Joe George, classic person with a limey name, is just going to dump all over somebody from another culture. That's surprising. Guess what? Your queen's dead. R.I.P. in peace. To go back to Wemby, I mean, look, he's a French boy. He's got to cut the cigarettes out because that is supposedly something that's going to make you lose weight. And he's going to have to start eating American food. He'll be fine, but for the Rockets, it's good that, yes, he is small, and as Alperen Şengün called him, not strong.
Yeah, it was an impressive performance from Alpy last night. 19 of 32, 45 points, 16 rebounds, 5 steals. He was just all over the place.
And offensively, he pushed Wemby around.
Yeah, and really with ease. Like, I know we're joking around like he's skinny. I didn't think that Wemby was going to have such an issue this quickly with that. I thought that he was, the way they touted this kid was that he was so athletic, that he was such already a skilled basketball player, that some of that stuff would not be an issue early on.
And no doubt
it's been harder.
But you come into the NBA and you're playing against men who are older.
Yeah, 22.
And Şengün, who is young but bigger, they're going to look at what's on the film, especially if you got someone like Ime Udoka as head coach. They're going to look for what works. And over the course of a season, I mean, maybe LeBron was adjustment proof, but a guy built like Wembanyama is 100% someone that you're going to figure out how to attack, at least in his first season, because he's small. And I really liked hearing Şengün basically very honestly saying his post-game press conference, yeah, he's just not strong. Yeah. He did say not strong yet, so this wasn't him calling him weak or soft or anything like that. But yeah.
But at least for now, he's soft. But it was a good reminder that after the last 2 games, I know it's not everything, but when's the last time they won a back-to-back? It feels like it's been months since they've done that. And last night was a game where at least they've shown how much you've grown as a team to where you're not the bottom barrel of the NBA anymore.
Well, I'm not going to go that far. I mean, they're playing the Spurs, who are literally the bottom barrel of the NBA right now.
Yeah, but you're not right now. Which it's kind of nice. It's refreshing to see something like that.
There were some nice things in this game. I really liked the way that they attacked Wembanyama when he had the ball, because he didn't even have, I think, a shot attempt in the second half. They were throwing Dylan Brooks at him. They were throwing Jabari Smith Jr. at him, so that was nice to see. And Jaylen Green looks like he could actually be a decent bench player, because get this, he's more athletic than everybody on other teams' benches. So when you bring him in and he's just going north and south and blowing by people 100 miles per hour, you can look at the fact that he was 10 of 13 from the field and ignore the fact that he was 1 of from 2-point land, and ignore the fact that he was 1 for 10 from 3-point land.
It's one of Jaylen Green is, I don't know if it's too early to make this take, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of Andrew Wiggins, where Andrew Wiggins, there was all the hype and it never really worked out. But once he realized what his career was, when Wiggins went to the Warriors and was coming off the bench, it's been awesome for him. It was a total career resurgence where he never lived up to that hype of the number 1 overall pick that he had, but he's found a very good role for him. Jaylen Green, to your point, I think could do the same thing. It's just, it seems challenging for the Rockets to put him in that position right now.
I think it's more challenging for him to accept the role. Yeah. But I think right there, when you see a guy like that do well against backups, I think that's a sign that, like, hey, he's going to be able to do this regularly against backups. And what a shot in the arm it is to have someone like that in that kind of a role. But to the Rockets' credit, they are really praising Jaylen Green for this. I know on Sunday, Ime Udoka went out of his way to say that Green's been playing great of late, and maybe that is something that can allow him to settle into this. But yeah, I do want to bring it back to Alperen Şengün because it was truly one of those moments where you're like, damn, I mean, they really they stumbled into arguably the best pick in that year's draft.
Absolutely.
If he can do this more, this was a career night, and it is against the Spurs team that is doo-doo. But to specifically see when Alperen Şengün had the ball, doing the things underneath the basket that he was doing to Wembanyama, I don't think it's that far of a reach for some of the people, some of the old heads up there who were saying, oh, it's kind of like Hakeem Olajuwon against David Robinson. Like, maybe not quite that far. Sean Mapes is holding up his hands as well. I'm not going to go that far, but I saw a couple people saying that, and I'm like,
the videos are out there.
He did abuse him. He did abuse him underneath the basket.
Yeah, because he just put his ass into him. Victor Wembanyama weighs 190 pounds. Also, Hakeem and David Robinson, that was about the MVP, and that playoff series happened in the playoffs, not between two teams that, one team has 28 wins, the other one has like 10?
But they have 13.
Cool.
It's about finishing strong. It's about proving who the worst team isn't.
It's not the Houston Rockets.
13 wins?
Yeah, they have 13 wins.
The Rockets
are terrible.
Twice as many wins.
Yeah, dude, the Rockets were terrible last year and they had 22.
The Spurs, they have one of the best young players. People think Wembanyama might win defense, or just not defense rookie of the year. He might just win defensive player of the year this year. And they have 13 wins. What'd you think of Şengün last night, Sean?
He was awesome. He did exactly what you need to do to Victor Wembanyama. And now the reason Wembanyama is probably still going to be an awesome player and is going to be an awesome defensive player and is an awesome defensive player is most guys can't do what Alperen Şengün did. Most guys don't have as polished of a post game as Şengün, and so it really not only was playing into the weakness of Vic, but also the strength of the Rockets, where they were kind of forced to put the ball in their best player's hand every time down the court for a while. And when you do that, you will always get a good shot because one guy cannot stay in front of the other. And the Spurs, for whatever reason, didn't decide to double off of Şengün, or didn't double Şengün. I don't know why they didn't. Maybe
at a certain point, yeah.
Maybe it's because just force this guy not to keep shooting baby hooks over Wembanyama.
The only argument threes.
The only argument to not doubling him is the one play that's gone the most viral from last night was that behind the back little dump pass that he made in the paint.
At least force him to do that, though.
Yeah, but he is...
No, it's easier than that. Putting your ass in Victor Wembanyama and
true.
putting him under the rim.
Yeah, that pass, though. Like
that was an awesome pass.
Of all the scoring and things, that's where the baby Jokic stuff at times is fair. It's extreme if you ever think he's going to be the next Nikola Jokic, but some of the passing stuff that Alpy can do, the vision he has, it's incredible.
Sean and I went to a Rockets-Raptors game a couple of years ago, and I remember we were just like, well, seeing Alperen Şengün pass in person, you are like, whoa, holy crap. And this was before we all started agreeing that he's probably the Rockets' most talented player.
Now, sometimes you need motivation, though. Sometimes you can't it's not just that you're playing Wembanyama and you're playing the Spurs, who it seems like the Rockets don't really like. Sometimes, Paul, you need motivation. And Alperen Şengün, he had that motivation last night.
Yes, he did. He was doing it for his buddy.
For his buddy Tari.
His buddy up in the hospital, just like winning one for the Gipper, who was dying. So a little different for your Notre Dame history there.
Yeah.
Old Knut Rockne. Listen, Alperen Şengün, he was doing it for Tariq Eason, who's out for the season.
I'm sending this game for Tari Eason. I love him. He's going to come back more stronger. We need him. This team, and next year is going to be easier.
It's going to be easier.
And then Tari's mom cried.
Tari seemed to fake cry on Instagram.
Cried.
And listen, the Rockets, their locker room, it's tight-knit.
What is it?
Super tight-knit.
Would we call it a family?
Well, I don't know if it's quite a family.
We're not there yet.
I think we're at the part in a Fast and Furious movie where they're starting to gel with one another, but there's still an element of, I don't like the way you do things.
Dylan
Toretto.
Brooks. Oh.
Yeah. Toretto, you're pushing it too far.
Dylan Brooks is the Rock in this, and the rest of the guys are Vin Diesel, and they really have to learn how to gel.
Well, who's Jaylen Green then?
Tyrese.
Yeah, he's definitely Tyrese.
Yeah,
that's
fair.
not even a debate. I mean, to go a little bit further though, the locker room, it's bonding. 3 games in a row and 3 kerfuffles, and you even heard from Şengün after the game where I guess he's into the kerfuffles that the Rockets keep getting into.
I feel like every game we have fight right now. We are more aggressive, so we want to win. You know, that's kind of actually good for team looks. You know, and I was talking to Fred. I said like, damn, we have game, we have fight every night. You know, and Fred said I like it, I love it. So is it good for us? You know.
I like Şengün casually dropping a
love him.
GD.
Yeah.
I mean, the man is he's learning the English language. He's learning how to cuss a little bit. And yeah, the Rockets are becoming a bit of a family by fighting and by beating a team that they somehow have twice as many wins as.
I mean, look, when you fight people, the world comes together. I mean, look at the Fast family. When they were in Brazil and they had to rebel, that's how The Rock became part of the family.
It is.
Was because they had to stand up for each other.
Have you seen Dune 2 yet?
No.
Okay. Well, then I will not make that reference.
It's probably
but
still
Paul,
too early.
Paul knows what I'm talking about.
It's probably still too early. I'm going to see it this weekend.
A lot of times,
I'm going to do my best.
A lot of times, conflict brings people together.
It's
does.
true. It does. It does. That's why we love the Rockets. But it's just, once again, so impressed with Alperen Şengün last night. He was on another level. And one of the things that Sean said that at the same time it irks me about last night is that because they were playing Wembanyama and the Spurs, they gave the ball to Alperen Şengün a ton. I wish on a day in and day out basis they would just let the offense flow through him on a more consistent basis.
Well, the problem is they could if they could shoot at all.
Good point.
Because he has everything. They just need people around him that he can kick it out to that can hit an effing shot. And I mean, Green, if you want to get mad at Jaylen Green, he was 1 of 10 from outside last night, and it's
Brick
more
City.
the same. So that to me is why they can't do it as much as they'd like to do it. But when it's at its best, I mean, it looks really awesome, and that was a hell of a night, especially against a guy that many are already crowning as the next best player in the NBA.
Yeah, one of those nights where it just gives you lots of hope about the future of the Houston Rockets.